Okay, so this was initially a Hoaglandia build-around submission that we played once before. The build-around submission was for a combo mill deck that was leveraging the card Fraying Sanity here. At the beginning of each player's end step, that player puts the top X cards of their library into their graveyard, where X is the number of cards that were put into it anywhere this turn, along with Traumatize, which is target player puts the top half of their library rounded down into their graveyard. So essentially, if your opponent has an even number of cards in their deck and they have Fraying Sanity on them and you Traumatize them, you instantly deck them out. Now, the rest of this deck is a variety of control elements. We've got Fatal Push, Thoughtseize, Thought Erasure, Murderous Rider, Languish, Dig Through Time. Last time we played this deck, I wasn't expecting a lot, and we actually ended up winning quite a bit with it. It felt like it had pretty reasonable matchups all around. Excited to see it for a second playthrough here today. So let's go ahead and jump on in and see how it goes. There are no Dismal Backwaters. If this deck has an okay run, I'll probably add it up to the Pioneer section of the website. Been a second since we added more content there. This deck's kind of unique, so if it still continues to feel reasonable, it would be a good addition. Curious how this one does against Inverter. Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of the cards that are good against Inverter, right? Like, we have Mystic Disputes and Strokes, and we have discard spells. So, like, discard spells and counter spells are the two best ways to fight the Inverter decks. And our deck has a quick-ish combo kill as well. Feels magic, man. Bottom, Fraying Sanity in the dark. It's a card we usually want a little bit later. Well then, I think we just take all that glitters, huh? They want to vomit some more critters out. We've got a Languish. So the problem with that Frantic Reverent is they just have a 6/6 in play. Like, the problem with all the disruption is that, like, the Torpor Orbs and things like Stifle type effects, like, they're just going to kill you by attacking. Like, their failure case is still a very good card being in play. Alright, so I'll take the other All That Glitters here. And then hopefully they don't draw another way to target this, and our Languish will be good. Do I want to play this? I think I'm going to keep that and cycle it. Don't you stifle the Oracle, not the Inverter? Yeah, but a 6/6 generally kills you. So unless their deck is exactly empty, they're going to end you. Unless they're decking out that turn. And a lot of the Inverter decks have a fair backup plan. Alright, so we're cycling this, trying to find a Fatal Push. Dead. Peak magic. Cast Thoughtseize twice. Immediately have opponent draw cards that's good against your thought that you wish you could have taken with Thoughtseize. Sometimes Thoughtseize is better as Thought Scour, champ. I'm just gonna bring in some more sweepers and some more spot removal. Probably just trim a Dig Through Time at the top end. Seems fine. I don't think Cry's very good here. Their deck goes a little bit tall. So the window in which Cry can kill their creature they have in play is likely very small. I haven't been playing Pioneer or watching recently. Is dig through time a problem in this format? I don't know. So I think people who are talking about banning dig through time will be sad because the inverter deck will still be very good without dig through time. Like, in fact, the inverter build we played today that top forward one of the PTs over the weekend wasn't playing dig because it was just a tempo-based build. And that's a really important distinction. I think people want dig banned just because dig is banned in other places. I don't think dig actually solves it. I think if you think inverter is a problem in Pioneer, banning dig doesn't solve that problem. So I think in my opinion, if you're making the argument we need to ban dig to beat down inverter, I think that banning will not have the result that you are looking for if that's the result you're expecting. A purple 500. All right, what are we doing here? I think we're just taking their threats, right? So we're going to take their bounty here. Take their 1-drop. Dig is banned. Will people not just play Drawn from Dreams? That card is not nearly as powerful as Dig Through Time. I don't think that's necessarily a good argument. So whenever you're playing Aura, Equipment, or Vehicle spell, you draw a card. Go ahead and write this down. Yeah, dig is extra good in the inverter deck because it lets you delve your graveyard is also relevant. Like being able to exile your graveyard matters to the inverter deck. Makes their combo a little bit more consistent. Well, that's unfortunate. I have 2 rituals and 3 languish that can kill that. But that's, like, really good otherwise. We just like bidding anything that's not a sweeper here. Untapped land is a good draw here because it means I can cast Dig Through Time. I don't think that's true, Quintoxic Command. Like, I think people writing off inverter discussion as knee-jerk ban discussion don't understand why the deck is good. I think they don't understand that a precedent was set with the removal of the Saheeli Cat combo. Acting like 2-card I win the game combos that you can't interact with via removal spells is just business as usual is just patently untrue. Alright, so definitely taking Ritual of Soot here. What's the second card? Probably just Dig Through Time, huh? So we'll attack for 2, gain 2. Honestly, I personally would enjoy the format more with no 2-card I win the game combos present. In my opinion, no 2-card win the game combos would be a net positive for the format. Blessed. Hashtag blessed. I think I just keep filling my graveyard up here. Yeah, I think 2-mana Thoughtseize effects are pretty okay. I think Thought Erasure hits a relatively reasonable / sweet spot. Wow, that's really good. That seems super sweet in their deck. They have drawn well. That's definitely true. We hit okay too though. So like I've got, if I find, this is actually a fine draw because it means if I draw another Fatal Push, I can stay alive here. But I have 3 copies of Languish in my deck we can find. So let's try and find one of those here. This archetype that the opponent's playing did well at one of the PTs this weekend, right? It seems really great. A lot of neat things going on. Bye, friends. They're on 0 cards here. So like they're on 0 cards versus our 2 removal spells plus a search for Azcanta in play. Hashtag never lucky. Protection is a fair and interesting mechanic that I'm glad they brought back to Magic. Protection is a fair and interesting mechanic that I'm glad they brought back to Magic. I could have had Hexproof. I mean, Hexproof is also a stain. So there's that. Saying one thing that's terrible is okay because something else is also terrible is a pretty medium red herring. Blue-white control. All right, so... Oh. Did they keep 7? You had to have misclicked, friend, right? All right, so we've now mulliganed 3 times. That's fun. Okay, so we're not going to play non-basics if we can avoid it. Oh, wait. Want to leave Opt up, right? I should mill them, right? Smoke if you got him, chat. Yeah, the field, even if I play a non-basic, doesn't do anything for them because I have Ashiok in play. And actually, because I drew Traumatize, I'm going to wait to Ashiok them some more. They didn't opt in response, so they don't have mana. They don't have blue mana. Please Field of Ruin me. Rats. Yeah, I was hoping they'd miss it too. Well, even if the field wasn't off, field can't hit basic lands. All right, so this mills them for 21. They're down to 17 cards in their deck. Good chance they can't beat this Ashiok, milling them for 4. 3 more times. Okay, are we gonna tuck this in? Nope, we're plussing. Okay. I think some of the Planeswalker statics are good. Like, we complain about things like Teferi and Narset a lot, but like, Ashiok static text is super reasonable. That was a good draw. So, this means that Ashiok mills them for 8. So they have 7 cards left in their deck. They have a Sun's Nemesis, Sun's Champion, a couple of castles. They have 3 castles in their deck. I like builder on statics like Kiora. Yeah, Kiora is a good example of good statics too. Agree with that. My sideboard is not well constructed for this matchup, huh? I don't really have sufficient cards to bring in. What about, like, leave a couple of cries in for all their tokens? That seems fine. A board in a cage to, like, cage the 1 Elspeth they have. I could just leave 3 sweepers in. That's probably better. That's fine. We have 4 counter spells to bring in, and we have a bunch of discard spells and stuff. Hey, thanks for the 13 months playing privilege. I mean, this is almost identical to the list we played last time. Black Leyline is a non-bow with Fraying Sanity. The first time we played this deck, we had Black Leylines in it, and then we cut them, because I realized during the league that, like, oh, this is awful. How charming. I believe they have different names. I believe the tokens have different names. So, if I only had one search for Azcanta, I'd wait to draw the Thoughtseize on top of my deck. But because I have a second search here, I like just jamming the first one. They hit a Teferi next turn. I'm pretty sad I didn't hold up Stroke, but outside of like 5 mana Tef, I like getting searched down while they don't have a counter spell up. Sure. If they give us something to Stroke next turn, we can flip Search for Azcanta over, which would be nice. Wouldn't be surprised to see them cycle both their charms here. So 3 cards, none of which we know. I don't really want to dig at end of turn, because if I dig, I'm further from flipping my Azcanta, and I'd kind of like to get Azcanta flips. Yeah, of course they play 3 mana Teferi. Maybe I do just play dig. I have 2 of them. Hey, Flamancipator, thanks for the 10 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Just keeping me around. Puts me down 2 cards in my bin. I think we're far enough off dispute at this point. That's a phenomenal draw. I can crack that and then flip the search next turn. If we flip search without them finding a Field of Ruin for a couple of turns, we'll be in a very good spot. And now, with getting to cast the Disdainful Stroke here, we get to flip the Azcanta without putting the card on top of our deck. So if there's a good spell, we get to keep it. It's a land, though, so let's flip that Bad Mamma Jam over. Hey, Mills, thanks for the 10 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Seven mana. I'm just going to cast Fraying Sanity. This way, if I draw into Azcanta, or if I draw into Traumatize, we can just kill them next turn. Do you recommend going to FNM if you are a new player? If you're looking to enjoy Magic as a social experience, FNM is a great way to do that in most places. I will warn that the quality of local game stores can vary wildly from location to location. So, for instance, if there's multiple game stores in the town where you live, and the first one is not ideal, I would definitely recommend giving the second one a try. Alright, you have a second counterspell, or you did? Wow, Reed. Never lucky, chat. Oh no. I guess we only get 8 looks at another Traumatize this turn. They have 34 cards in their deck, so Traumatize is lethal. Ashiok plus second Fraying Sanity is like lethal adjacent, so... So this mills them for 4, then this does 4, then this does 8. So they're going to mill 16 cards here, I believe. They're at 17 cards in their deck. The DNC made a comment that they plan to post caucus results by 4 o'clock today. For 4 p.m. Central. When are we gonna have all of the results then? They're only tallying half of them? So what's the deal then? Is it gonna be like weeks before we know? I don't know if this deck is good, but any deck that stuffs blue-white control in a box is a winner in my book. Winner. Is this the same opponent? Good question. God bless America. MTGO leagues suck. It is actually the exact same person. Like, we both hopped out of the queue and hopped back in and Moto paired us against. What a dead platform. Dead platform devoid of players. Thanks for the 13 months, Alex Jet. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. I wish I had noticed that. I guess I probably keep this hand against blue-white control. Nevada Dem said they won't use the app because of the debacle. Sure. I mean, I only paid $10 for the privilege of playing this league, chat. Why wouldn't I want to play the same person twice 2 matches in a row? Oh, that's gross, Snorka. So this is actually a little awkward for us. So because they have 2 digs, I get to take a dig here, and then Fraying Sanity is going to mill them, which lets them cast the other dig. So, like, we're enabling their second dig here. Toss a prime to your Twitcher, oh Valley of Bezos. Alright, so I'm excited for this Murderous Rider to get Dovin's vetoed this turn. Since they cast Dig through time and that's how that works. I would be so happy if Biden came in 5th. Status quo Joe needs to GTFO politics. I messed up. I didn't count and I didn't realize that I could have dug this turn. I should have fetched and dug. If they have another veto or a censor here, I deserve it. Yeah, I really messed that up. Definitely should have fetched and dug on my turn. So we're going to board the same way we did before. Bunch of removal spells out. Counter spells. Cry in. Yeah, if I had... The cries are because we played against this person last match. We played against the same person 2 games in a row, and they had 3 castles and 2 Elspeths. And I just don't have other better cards at my sideboard to bring in. The sideboard doesn't have a ton of cards for the control matchup. You know, in a world where the GOP is not bordering on fascism, Joe Biden would be considered a conservative. Alright, well, it's not a land, but at least it's a castable spell. Veto me, daddy. No veto. Okay, so... probably just Dominaria. I think we just take the hero here. Okay. Good beats. We know they have Sabotage. They cycled Censor. Just looking for land drops. Land drops and discard spells. Hey, a land drop that helps me find land drops. I'm into it. Can you dig it, chat? I can dig it. I think I'd want to just, like, jam into their counter spells here. If they fill my graveyard up, it helps me flip Search or cast Dig. How much Inverter have we run into today? 3 matches? I think we're like 3 out of 12. I don't know, Justin. Probably. Maybe you could argue that this one's conditional on having an even number of cards in their deck, but yeah, I would not be upset in a world where there just weren't 2 card, oh, oops, you died. Inverter, a new deck that emerged from the tournament? No, like every piece of innovation in recent memory, it came from Magic Online Leagues. Is there a dispute in my future opponent? probably just can't win between the Dream Team here. Just have such a constant flow of cards. Yep. Any reason to play this combo over Inverter? Why should I play Inverter over this combo? Instead of me telling you you're wrong, tell me why you're right. Maybe they don't have any counterspells. They don't bounce my Fraying Sanity and we kill them. You know? Who knows? We're super dead. Oh, blue-white control. Oh, blue-white control. The format's blur, but the blue-white control remains. This sideboard is not well constructed for that matchup. I probably have slightly too many cards for creatures and not enough cards for that. Yeah. At least like this combo we're playing, the opponent can like interact with enchantments to break up the combo. Like the biggest thing about the Inverter combo is that it's just better than a lot of other 2-card combos when you consider the number of axes of interaction that you have to interact with it on. Like with Jace, it requires you interacting with the Planeswalker, which is pretty narrow and specific. With Thassa's Oracle, a lot of times removal spell just doesn't even do anything. If you like Torpor Orb the Inverter, they get a 6/6 flyer that beats you down. Sometimes even without their second combo piece, a 6/6 flyer beats you down anyways. Is Thought Distortion the 6-mana unplayable card? Because I would challenge you that that card's not good enough against control just because of their Tefreeze and their what's it called? Their Dream Trawlers that get into play. Yeah, that's the giant uncastable thing. Yeah, it's like 800 mana. Yeah, I agree, Justin. Like I said, at the end of the day, whether or not I take issue with the thing too, like, consistency is something I've often asked for, which was sorely lacking in Modern specifically. And like I said, I didn't expect changes this week because there's another Pioneer Pro Tour coming up, but I think, what's the word that I'm searching for? I think that we could very reasonably see changes come next Monday. Yeah, it's what we were just talking about, Quintoxic Command. I think in a world you could make the argument that, like, you could just ban this too. I think there's this nonsense notion that every time you ban a card, it's a failure. And again, like, I challenge that because I think that that's silly. I think that using a ban list to manage a format is a perfect, appropriate, and reasonable response. The use of a ban list is a feature, it is not a bug. Pretty solidly wrong half-problemed here. Have a bunch. I probably should have put Murderous Rider into play. It doesn't have text tier rate. And I don't think it really matters. We should be dead here. Using a ban list to manage Standard is a mistake. Change my mind. I agree with that. I think ideally Standard shouldn't have bans. But I also think letting Standard be miserable isn't a good idea. So the opponent's deck, for those that aren't familiar, Lotus Field makes 3 mana. And then their deck combos by churning through their deck with this card, pour over the pages. They draw 3 cards, untap 2 lands, and then discard a card. So they get to generate a bunch of mana with their Lotus fields from things that untap them. And then eventually they cast Omniscience, then win the game with Omniscience. Yeah, I agree, Stacko. And not only that, it's not even just about predicting the interactions in a non-rotating format. It's also just about the fact that... what's the word that I'm searching for? It's not just about predicting it, but even when you predict some of the interactions in a non-rotating format, the correct answer is just like, okay, that interaction's gonna happen here, but this card's still sweet in standard. We want to print this card into standard. We'll just ban something in the non-rotating format. Like, Heliod's a really sweet standard card, for instance. Heliod's a really sweet standard card, and it created an infinite combo in this format. I don't think that means Heliod shouldn't exist, but I do think it means it should be managed in these other formats. Today on social media lessons with Jeff Ogland, this person tweeted something that's really obnoxious, so I blocked them. But sometimes the tweet's obnoxious enough that just blocking them isn't enough. So if you click here on the 5 likes, you can click over to here and you can see all the people that liked it. And then this is called a chain block. So now you click in to all of these people and then you block them as well. Because if they're liking things that are obnoxious enough to block, at some point they're probably going to come across your timeline and you save yourself the trouble of having to read whatever they were going to send obnoxious at you in the future. It's a good system. It's also a good reminder that, like, your likes on social media matter. What you are supporting with your buttons matter. People that like obnoxious things are probably going to tweet obnoxious things at you in the future. Some serious block APM. Listen, I didn't play countless hours of CS growing up to not have good APM. Come on now. I'm just mining Bitcoin. Life's too short. Don't engage, block, and move on. What keystroke are you using to close the currently open tab? It's Control W, right? Yeah, Control W. I do it so often, it's just like ingrained in my brain. It's a blockchain. It's a blockchain. Yeah, we're mining blockchain. See, there you go. I think I'm actually supposed to take scrying here still. Yeah, the problem is you just can't keep things like that private. It just doesn't work. Yeah, Control-Shift-T reopens the last tab you just closed too. Is a good one. Peak Magic Online chat is the fact that the split cards show up twice. It shows you Granted and Fae of Wishes in the revealed card zone. Just Moto things. Ashiok's actually, like, pretty relevant here, right? Because it, like, hates on their graveyard. So, if we draw a land here, we can clear the scrying away. Well, to be fair, Control-Shift-T doesn't keep meta information or, like, information you haven't saved on the page, I don't believe. But yeah, Google Docs have having revision controls is A++. Alright, well. So we don't get to draw. We don't get to get rid of their scrying, which is a little unfortunate. It's been a rough day for Pioneer, Dimir Spy. Been a tough morning. Hey, 2 more shots. Needs to be untapped. Do I keep that? I think I'm supposed to keep that. And just, like, hope it's good enough. We could still die here through the cage. If they generate enough mana, like, the opponent's deck could win the game before it had the new red card that lets them cast things from the bin. The most recent set introduced 2 new different 2-card I win the game combos, J-Ray. The format still is fine, but the fact that those 2 things got added and standard is good again right now definitely make it a little bit less appealing, I think. I'm interested to see if we die from here. I bet we do, right? They have 7 mana, so they get to Underworld, Breach, and then pour over the pages. I feel like a lot of the corporate media right now, they just have like 2 sets of articles ready to publish. Like when if Buttigieg wins Iowa, all the papers are going to publish articles talking about how important the Iowa win is and like how it's meaningful for the rest of the election. And if Sanders wins Iowa, they're going to publish their sets of articles talking about how using Iowa to measure the rest of the election is a dated metric that shouldn't be applied anymore. It's like sitting there sweating, waiting to figure out which of their directions they're supposed to publish in. Get you later, Pino. Yeah, I don't actually know, like, I don't know that they're deterministic from here, so I'm curious to see, like, if they fill their graveyard enough, because, like, this requires 3 cards every time, which is, like, non-trivial, and, like, can they make enough mana to kill me from that position? A couple of people were saying this card kind of punched this archetype into overdrive, but I also, did anybody know the Lotus Field decks didn't have any, they have Thought Distortion in their deck? Yeah, both Sanders and Buttigieg teams are apparently both claiming victory so far, so we'll see what happens when the actual numbers come in. That's true. That's true. This card, when it costs 2 lands, is like pretty reasonable. They only have 10 cards left in their deck. Oh, wait. They just win with... We saw Thassa's Oracle earlier, right? Yeah, game 1 we saw Thassa's Oracle. So they just deck themselves and then Oracle is the win, right? They can also grant it for Jace. Sure. Yep. All right, let's try the last one, I guess, but woof. What are game 3's Baby Don't Hurt Me No More? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, hey, hey. I feel like Theros made Standard amazing, and it's kind of seems like it's made Pioneer pretty medium. Yeah, it did the inverse for Pioneer. I'm probably gonna use that line. Theros modernized Pioneer. That's a good. I like what you did there. I like what you did there. That is not the Heliod I was expecting. Is it just Chad? I think we just take Chad. And we're hoping to scry into a sweeper here. Okay, I think I keep that because I want to take their Gideon as their Heliod as well. Opponent brought the wrong Heliod, yep. Something like that. Flying Vigilance, Lifelink 2/3. I mean, to be fair, this card's probably very reasonable against mono red, right? Main deck Tecatli Honor Guard. What a healthy format. All right, so we're gonna Ashiok target ourselves here. Ashiok target ourselves is nice because it fuels our graveyard for dig through time. I don't know that we can beat Chad. Oh, they emblemed. I guess Adanto with emblem is pretty tough. Yeah, Honor Guard blocks a bit better, even if it doesn't have lifelink. Like stopping dice text probably isn't super relevant. I'm done. This is why we usually play decks twice before putting them on the site. Yeah, someone asked the question earlier, why would you play this over over Inverter? The actual answer is you just shouldn't. Like, the combo's a little bit harder to put together. The individual combo pieces are worse on their own. Like, neither of these really do anything without the other. We did have one game where we, like, had Ashiok with Fraying Sanity to win the game, but those are pretty few and far between. It's not like you have a 1-3 that blocks and fixes your draws or a 6-6 flyer that kills them, so... It's a rough run for Pioneer today. We'll see how... We're going to play Pioneer again tomorrow and Thursday for sure. I'm interested to see how it feels. Well, Theros really breathed some fresh air into Standard that was much needed. A lot of the cards and the way they're interacting in this format really hasn't been that fun for me personally. So we'll see. We'll see where things end up at. Pioneer submissions as a whole have kind of slowed down with Standard, which is normal. There's ebbs and flows in sets, so we'll see as Standard matures, as this format gets managed a bit more, if at all. We'll see where things end up at. At any rate, that's going to be it for me for today's stream. Tuesdays are a little bit shorter streams. I have a class that I take Jake to in the afternoon on Tuesday, so I want to get all my post-stream stuff done so I can get him over to that on time. I'll be back tomorrow on Wednesday for a long stream. We're going to do Pioneer in the morning, Historic right after, and then a bunch of Standard to follow. As always, you can find my schedule of not only when I'm going to be live, but what I'm going to be streaming when on my website there. Thanks, everyone, for watching, and I'll catch all y'all around later. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday wherever you're at in the world.